I think that's one of the great things about Spring Mountain is you get a lot of those influences from the coast, from the elevation, from the acidity, from the soil, to really make these beautiful wines. And like most of us have said today, we just want to let that vineyard speak, and we have this beautiful spot up on the top of the mountain that allows us to do that. So Cab, 100% Cabernet Sauvignon. And I think that we've always, again, it's what we've had, what we've grown. We haven't had any other varietals to blend into it. So it's been easy for us to make those decisions. But often, people will hear me say when we talk about blending, how many different sections of the vineyard it comes from. So a typical Cabernet harvest for us, we may be picking over 10, 12, 14 days even. We go to a specific block 3-4 times. And that's because the elevation, the aspect of the vines, we're often, as Alan was saying, the upper section of the vineyard is going to ripen differently from the lower section of the vineyard. We are doing, and I learned this a lot when I was at Harlan. I know Bob and Martha do this a lot with the Martha McClellan wines, but we started in 2014 barrel fermenting a good portion of this wine. And I think actually now with the 2016, we're upwards to about 50 to 60% of the Cabernet for Vineyard 7 and 8 estate is barrel fermented. So that process by which we're taking new French oak barrels, we're taking the hoops off, which allow us to pull the head of the barrel out. We put the fruit in whole berry, so we'll go through the whole sorting process as if we would for our tanks. Typically about 400 to 450 pounds of fruit will go into the barrel. We'll put the heads back on, put the hoops back on. So now we have a closed barrel. And one of the reasons we do this, again, you think about what we want in the end. We want that texture, aromatics. We want that, as Heidi was saying, you want that wine to start at the beginning of your palate and go all the way through to the finish. So we found that the barrel fermentation process, getting the tannins together, so skin tannin, oak tannin, seed tannin, all integrating from the very beginning of the fermentation process. Sort of that inert environment of that sort of closed barrel, really preserving those primary aromatics of the fruit. And then the texture that the barrel fermentation process brings to the mid palate, really filling out the mid palate, and then leading to a really elegant long finish. It's definitely a labor of love. It's an intense process. If you think just one barrel, you're opening and closing 4 times. You're opening to fill it, you're closing it for fermentation, you're emptying it, you're opening it to take the grapes out, then you're closing it again to be able to use it back in aging process. So, we may have in a typical year about 50 of these barrels going through fermentation. So that's 200 times we're opening and closing a barrel. So we've gotten pretty good at becoming our own. My hands at times are pretty beaten and tattered, but the product, I think, and what comes from it speaks for itself to us. So we really love it. Cab is, we're aging in almost 100% new French oak for the estate. We feel that the boldness and the structure that comes from the mountain fruit and then the style in which we craft the wines can stand up and benefit from that much new oak. And also the aging process. We are aging for about 26 months, so it's a long time in barrel. So it's typically from the moment that we ferment, or from the moment we pick our fruit to the time it's actually bottled, then an aged and bottled, it's almost 3 years. So it's definitely a lengthy process, but one in which we make sure that when the wine does get to you, that it is showing how we would hope.